It all started with a series of increasingly desperate phone calls from Karen, the notorious HOA enforcer. She had learned, far too late, that I was not someone to be intimidated, and she had decided to escalate matters by attempting to steal my ranch through a series of lies and forged documents. According to her, she had the authority to claim portions of my property, and she believed she could manipulate the system to her advantage. Karen's plan was audacious and reckless. She contacted government agencies, filed complaints, and even falsified statements about ownership and usage rights, claiming that I had violated HOA regulations and local zoning laws. It was the kind of bold, arrogant overreach that only someone completely unaware of the consequences would attempt. At first, I observed quietly, documenting every communication, every attempt to falsify records, and every instance of harassment. Karen had no idea that I had already prepared for such contingencies. My legal knowledge, coupled with meticulous records and the support of experienced attorneys, meant that her attempts to manipulate the system would be completely ineffective. The moment of reckoning came when she attempted to serve notice of her fabricated claims. I calmly intercepted the delivery, reviewing the documents with a practiced eye. Every forged signature, every misleading statement, and every procedural error was noted. Karen had thought she could intimidate me with bureaucracy, but she had underestimated both my preparation and my ability to respond decisively. I decided it was time to confront her directly, but strategically. I called her to the edge of my property, where her audacious plan had brought her. She arrived with the same smug expression, clipboard in hand, convinced that she had maneuvered herself into a position of power. I allowed her a moment to speak, letting her launch into her rehearsed speech about ownership, HOA authority, and my supposed violations. Then, I calmly interrupted. "Karen," I said evenly, "you've made a serious mistake. Every claim you've filed is incorrect, misleading, and legally invalid. Your attempts to claim my property are not only baseless, they are actionable. You have no authority here, and every action you've taken has been documented." Her confidence faltered as I outlined, point by point, the flaws in her claims. I produced copies of legitimate property deeds, zoning documents, and legal correspondence that directly contradicted her assertions. I explained how her false statements could result in criminal and civil consequences, making it clear that her reckless attempts to manipulate the system were entirely her responsibility. Karen's reaction was priceless. Her smug expression gave way to panic, and she attempted to retreat, muttering about misunderstandings and procedural errors. But it was too late. Her actions had triggered scrutiny, both from legal authorities and from the HOA board. By the end of the day, she had been reprimanded formally, and her credibility had been destroyed. She realized, far too late, that her attempt to steal my ranch had failed spectacularly. The neighborhood quickly learned of her audacious and failed scheme. Karen, who had once been feared for her relentless enforcement of HOA rules, was now widely regarded as reckless, incompetent, and dangerously overconfident. Her reputation suffered another blow, and she became a cautionary tale. Never underestimate those who are prepared, knowledgeable, and calm under pressure. From my porch, surveying my fully intact ranch, I felt a profound sense of satisfaction. Karen had tried to steal what was mine through lies, manipulation, and audacious overreach, and had failed at every turn. The lesson was clear. Preparation, legal knowledge, and patience will always triumph over arrogance, deceit, and reckless ambition. And as the sun set over the horizon, casting golden light across my property, I reflected on the poetic justice of the situation. Karen had believed she could manipulate reality to her advantage, only to discover that preparation, calm authority, and the power of documentation can turn even the boldest attempts at theft into a spectacular failure.